Hey you know there's a saying, good things must share, right?
That's right. So if you like our content and you enjoy listening to our content, chances are your friends will enjoy and learn from our podcast too.
So share your favorite episode with your friends and family, or share our entire Spotify account, The Imperfect Rainbow.
Thank you, and remember to share. Now back to the show.
show. We are here again on a
Here again.
Sunday.
Yes, and once again, my name is Jeremy.
My name is Maddy.
We are the Imperfect Rainbow.
Firstly, we want to thank you so much for choosing to tune in to us right now, right this moment. You could be doing your walking the dog, you could be cooking, you could be driving, you could be in an MRT train, and you chose to listen to us, and we are really humbled and honored to have your time with us.
And I think we are grateful.
We're super.
I think we're grateful.
Yeah.
And I want to commend you for listening in, because
Yeah.
you are also then blocking out time to learn. You're blocking out time to do self-development work. You are choosing this, you're prioritizing this in your life, and you are obviously, whether you're squeezing in time in your schedule to do this, and we always say whether you're walking your dog, you're doing the dishes,
Yes.
you're taking a train home, you're driving home, whatever you're doing, and you're choosing to listen to us. Thank you, we're grateful, and I really, really hope you can learn something from this episode today.
Yeah, so celebrate your own efforts for tuning in to be a better version of yourself.
Yes, celebrate
Good
small
job.
wins. Celebrate small wins.
Yes, and today we'll talk about something small but with a big impact.
Yes.
We are at episode 15.
15. Yes.
What are we going to talk about today?
Okay, today's episode is called Small Talk, Big Impact.
Yes, so why do you want to talk about this?
I feel, and I think this was an inspiration from a social event that I went to. And yeah, a social event was noticing me and somebody else, in a situation. It was a bit like a house gathering, and people were just, mingling, having drinks.
So it's not a
and
work
some food.
gathering, it's a very social friend.
It was a social gathering.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a work gathering. And then I noticed that, some people tend to, you can tell, right? Some people can gel a little bit better.
Correct.
They kind of work a bit better in their environment. They are quite natural at it, you can tell. Some people tend to be a bit more, perhaps should I say, a little bit awkward in that sense. Like, they don't really know how to approach
Probably
it.
look a bit uncomfortable.
Probably look a bit uncomfortable, or they stick to themselves, or they stick to their certain group of friends, which I think is quite common sometimes when you see in social gatherings. So I think this is a fun and it's a lighthearted topic, because a lot of us struggle with it.
Yes.
And I suspect that some of us even have social anxiety just going to gatherings like that.
Which means that maybe if they are given an invite, they choose not to go. They miss out certain opportunities.
They could have,
Right?
yeah,
Because of
they could.
the kind of, they don't know how to make small talk.
Yes.
I forget it.
Or they're afraid to make small talk.
Yeah.
They're afraid of putting themselves out there, like, I don't know what to say. Like, after 1-2 questions, they get awkward, and I don't want to be caught in a situation where I'm feeling awkward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that this episode could be helpful to some of us. And hopefully we're going to give you some tips on how to better prepare, or at least set the right intention when you go for any gatherings, work, social, personal, and hopefully the idea of just kind of making small talk shouldn't be that intimidating.
Yeah, and I want to bring back again the mission of the Imperfect Rainbow podcast. And we're very proud of this mission. We want to use our podcast as a platform to share stories, either from myself and Jeremy, and also the guests that we invite, because we believe that using stories help to connect people, help to heal and inspire. So we are not here to teach you how to be a good person, what best way to make small talk, because we have failed in our own ways, but we learn and realize that using stories can actually, probably sharing our stories can get you to make small talk and make a change to your life and other people's life. Then we are just fulfilled our task.
Yeah, we're a vessel. We're a vessel to be able to deliver that.
So good.
Did you like that word, vessel?
Yes. So I think coming back to the reason why we want to talk about this topic again is really realizing that small talk actually breeds connection.
I love the word connection.
Connection,
really
and this is what we are doing with you. If you feel connected with us, then the power of small talk is as such. Because when you feel connected, you feel good, the other person feel good, and then there's also opportunities where, and I believe that every great success work out there all begins with small talk.
And interesting you brought up the word connection. There was a very powerful TED Talk that was given And I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you before. So the TED Talk was about this researcher who was doing a research on longevity. Like what are the factors that contribute to longevity, right? She studied like different groups of people, different demographics, different regions and all that. And interestingly, there was one thing that stood out. You may think it's health or it's the diet.
Yep.
You may think it's exercise. You may think it's knowledge. You may think it's your social background. You may think it's all of that, right?
Yes.
But interestingly, do you know what is the number one thing or factor that contributes to longevity? In other words, living a good long life.
Connection.
Yes,
This is my guess.
Yes, it is connection.
Yeah.
The power of social connection. The power of knowing that you belong to a community.
Yeah.
The power of knowing that you are valued as a person in an ecosystem and in a community.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That is the one thing that determines your longevity.
I cannot imagine, but I feel I can totally resonate. And I think in this fast-paced world, right, where technology is so developing in such a fast pace, it is very easy to disconnect.
Yeah.
Because we are just living in our own social media circle. We are, being keyboard warriors or watching YouTube. We can just stay at home, immersed in technology without talking to anyone. And that's fine. There are space and time for that.
Yes.
But still, that means that we really need to be even more intentional in making these connections, and it can be as simple as a small talk.
Yeah.
Because we are human beings, we are wired to connect.
Yes.
If you like listening to our voices, then somebody will love to listen to your voice as well.
But I want to say it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If on some Friday nights
It's perfectly
you just want
fine.
to stay home.
Yeah. But don't do it every day.
Wear pajamas and watch Netflix or whatever you're watching.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fine. In fact, I find myself doing that quite often these days.
Yeah.
Because I've got like my work travels and my busy schedule. Sometimes you just want to unwind.
Yeah,
right?
that's also the unwinding, decompressing, because
That's
you
right.
cannot have every day of mingling, social
going
gatherings.
out.
You're gonna be so
cannot.
tired.
Yeah. So there's a time and space for that.
time and
So we
space.
really want to help you to be able to find the right intention, right, when you go for such events.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can equip you with some thoughtful questions, some thoughtful intent on to use in small talk situation. And I think at the end of the day, we want you to feel at ease, right?
And not be scared.
Yeah, not be scared.
Not be scared.
I mean, I think can you imagine the scariest thing is because you're so anxious about going out and meeting people, and you're so anxious about to know what to say and in those situations, and if that deters you from going out, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Then I think that's where there's a really big issue here.
Yeah. And I want to be very honest with all of you out there. Jeremy and myself, and maybe I will speak for myself. I am not somebody who makes small talk, or how should I say this? I'm not somebody who is good at making small talk.
Really?
Really. The thing is, when I'm a younger version of myself, or in the past, whereby I'm a lot more judgmental, maybe I appear to be able to mingle and make social gathering easy.
Okay.
But in my mind, there's a lot of this. Like, you can be talking to somebody, but I'm just not active listening. So it's different, able to make small talk and make small talk mean something. It's different from really actually being a empathetic listener or something. There's a lot of things going on.
For sure.
For me, I have a story that I want to talk about this morning.
Tell us. We love stories.
Yes,
Tell us a story.
So this is a time in Christmas last year where it was a Christmas gathering at a friend's house. There are children, there are adults, and different adults are playing mahjong, and the kids are just hanging around chilling. And then I don't play mahjong, so I am not at the mahjong table. But then I see that the children are having fun, but I do in that setting there is this teenage girl. She's sitting alone with her phone watching TV all by herself.
Right.
Whereas all her other siblings are like, who are younger, they are like playing, having fun, running around, that kind of thing. So at first, I entered this house, still, mingling in my own ways. But I just cannot help but notice that she could feel a bit lonely.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because she was in the corner with her phone,
She's in the corner,
Okay.
she's on the sofa alone, and she's very quiet. And she's, I think, about like 15, 16 years old, something like that. So probably I also understand that, it could be a little bit in that phase of teenagehood whereby, you want to be alone. You are no longer that age whereby you like to play. You probably like to be by yourself.
Sure.
And then it's not that I look at her feeling lonely and then I talk to her immediately, right? But it's after some time I decided that, maybe let me just go and talk to her and see how it goes, because if not, then we're going to be hanging around in this social gathering for another few hours because they're playing mahjong anyway. So why don't I just see what I can do?
Like, if I wanted to was it because you felt like you wanted to include her, or you somehow in the situation?
Yeah, I feel that I just kind of feel or imagine that she's a bit out of place.
Okay.
She's like a bit lonely.
Okay.
And then I don't want that I don't want her to feel that way, right? Because it's a Christmas time and everybody's having fun, eating, playing mahjong, but then she's just all alone.
Okay.
So just something drew me to speak to her.
Sure.
And then what I did was, okay, so I went to her, and then I was just, and I think I started out probably a bit awkward also lah. I was just like, hey,
Tell us.
I think I asked her how old she is, and how old are you?
Okay.
And she told me her age and everything. And then I start off with asking her, say, hey, I can't remember her name, say, so and so, auntie here want to be a good parent.
Okay.
Can you give me any advice on how I can be a better parent? Because I'm curious to learn about you. Wow. This is how I open the topic. I think this is not a very small talk question.
Okay, but interesting. That's okay. Then
I think 我吓到他。
有一点点嘞。Hey, in my mind, it's quite a big question.
It's a big question,
It's
right?
a big question to ask a 15-year-old. But tell me how it went. Let's see. How did it go?
And then she shared with me two advice, which I thought that, wow, I'm so glad I asked her, because that is very insightful in the question that I asked.
Right, okay. Tell us.
So again, I asked her, can you give me a couple of advice, and from your opinion as a teenager, what can I do? What are the lessons that I can take so that I can be a better parent to my children next time? And then she said, firstly, don't control so much. Don't control us so much. Yes.
Okay.
She said, don't control us so much.
Let go a bit.
Give us some freedom. And I said, wow. I said, tell me more. Then she said, just let us do our own things. Let us try out things that we want to do. Don't hold your expectations on us. And I'm like, wow, this is deep.
Such good wisdom.
Such good wisdom from a 15-year-old teenager. And another advice that she gave was, and probably she didn't word it in this way, but it was something that she said that if you have stress outside of home, if you have difficulties, you have stress, you face unhappiness outside, don't bring it home to us.
Or this talking to you as a parent.
Yes.
You as a parent, don't bring home your mess.
Correct.
Home.
Yes. Don't bring home the mess that you face outside back home, because we are not responsible.
Wow.
For the mess, for the shit that you have outside.
I feel that's like a mic drop moment there. Oh my god.
So like in my notes here, right, because there was a conversation, but my 重点 is what she says is leave your shit outside the home.
Oh my god.
I'm like, oh my god. And it's a very interesting perspective, because
it is a very interesting perspective.
It shows to me that these teenagers really sees and observe things.
And they have their own thoughts.
They have their
own point of view.
And they know that, we have our stress at work, we have our stress with our bosses, with money or whatever.
Right.
But when we bring that stress back home and then let them bear the brunt of it, they don't feel good. I mean, she didn't say that in her own words, but I can feel that.
Of course.
The reason why I want to bring out this example of this small talk, because I was purely curious. And firstly, I want to connect with her because she looks lonely.
Right.
I don't want her to feel left out. And then I just curious. I just asked, I mean, she's a teenager. Probably, I don't know. I just thought that a parenting topic would be a good opening question, even though it's a bit hard. But she gave me these two golden insights that, wow, it brings so much. And then immediately I shared this advice out on my social media, just to let parents know that, hey, let's be very mindful of what is the energy and the space that we bring back home to our children.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question, because it's such a big question, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel, and this is the part where we're learning a bit about small talk, isn't it?
Yeah.
How did you how did she respond when she heard that question? Did she feel shocked?
Actually, she did not feel shocked at all. She was very at peace with it. She really thought about it. Then she gave me these answers.
Very good.
And then after a while, right? So after we talk about this parenting thing, then she asked. She told me that I resemble her auntie, and her auntie is a life coach.
Oh, I see.
And then of course I don't know who her auntie is. So I asked her, I said, why do you think that I'm like your auntie? So because you ask a lot of questions.
Right.
You ask me a lot of questions because my auntie also asked me a a lot of questions. And from the sound of it, she enjoys being asked questions.
Good questions.
Good questions.
If I can add to that. Yeah.
And I think this is what probably on the receiving end, this is what makes a small talk going, right?
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
genuinely interested, you ask questions and the person feels good answering them, and then he or she feels connected.
I love this example. I love this
So
example.
I was surprised that she thought, oh, you are like my auntie, because you keep asking me questions, and from the way she doesn't feel offended. I think it feels like she feels that she's being cared.
She's being heard.
She's being heard.
Yes.
And I think that that is my main takeaway from this story.
So this is me thinking about how somebody else could have reacted in a situation,
Yeah.
or how somebody else could have started a small talk.
Yeah.
And we hear this so much during Chinese New Year, no? Oh, how are you now? So what school do you go to?
How was your exam?
How was your
last year?
exam? What are your grades?
Oh, you O-level last year. Which school do you go?
Which school are you going to? Have you thought about the JC you're going to? Have you thought about poly? Have you thought about the course? I think they're like, every time you ask one more question, I'm going deeper and deeper into the ground. Like, just kill me. Just dig a hole and let me die.
This brings me to another example of a small talk on this grades one as particularly.
Okay, come.
So this Chinese New Year, so I have a newfound liking to talking to young people. And I have no idea why I kind of enjoy talking to young people, but I think it's kind of an energy thing, Like you enter a room of many people, young people, people who are in the 30s, 40s, and old people. Kind of, I feel that it's there's this opening towards young people that I can talk to.
Right.
Whereas certain people, I don't know, maybe in their mind, in their world, they close up.
Yes.
Then I don't feel that I want to approach them.
Possibly.
Okay, maybe it's my thing lah. Okay, but I don't know.
You can sense the energy in the room.
Yeah, the energy. Okay, probably
yeah.
the energy. So I've got this liking to talking to young people. So during a Chinese New Year gathering, there was this group of younger children. These are in a primary school.
Okay.
So again, I come in with my big question, right? I asked them, tell me something about Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
What is something that makes you very uncomfortable in terms of the comments that you hear from relatives?
Right.
And then one thing that stood out for me is when they say that they cannot stand it when parents start comparing their grades. Like it's like the children are sitting there, right?
Yes.
But the parents are just, parent A is comparing with parent B, and then compare like, compare G, compare like, compare G. And then the poor child sitting there listening to their grades being compared, it's like they're invisible.
I know. How do you talk about that in front of the kids?
Yeah, but I think I was doing that last time also. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine how they are feeling standing there listening. Gosh,
They
okay.
feel invisible. But yeah, this is just a side thing about the grades part.
Yeah. And that's a really good example, isn't it? Like a real example two examples. One is kind of like the usual but terrible small talk that you can have. The kind that you just don't think about it. You just
you ask for the sake of asking.
Yeah. Or
Why do you ask?
Why
Why do you ask for the grades? Do you really want to know?
Exactly.
Like, why do you want to know? What's the
Comparisonitis lah, your comparisonitis.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell us about your experience.
Yeah. But let me finish it. The other good example was around being brave to ask that question. And I think it's a really good question. I want to comment on you because it's a really good question. And to be honest, I don't know. Now I think about it, initially I thought it was a big question. But then again, now I think about it, I think it could be something that really touched their... hit a raw nerve for them. It's something that's really meaningful for them.
Yeah.
And it's probably a question that they have never been asked the entire life. Think about that. Probably
and they are able to
nobody
give
cared about
such
their view.
insightful response even from a primary school kid.
Yeah.
They said, I don't like it when my grades are being compared.
Yeah,
They have a
yeah.
voice, they have an opinion.
Yeah,
it's just that nobody asked lor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you were smart also to position the question such that I want to get your opinions so that I can be a better mother, a better parent. And I think what that does is it kind of shifts the spotlight from them to you. So in a sense where you're not putting...
feel safe.
Yeah, you make them feel safe. You're not putting them under the spotlight.
Yeah.
You're not making them feel like, embarrassed and all that.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really smart question. Well done.
Thank you. I'm also glad that I had this opportunity to connect with these young, budding people who are going to shape the world next time.
Yeah.
So I enjoy doing it.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so I wanna mention a simple story.
Yes.
And it was very, very recent. So again, during Chinese New Year, so I was invited to a friend's dad's like a Chinese New Year low hay kind of a dinner.
Okay. Big gathering.
Night gathering. It was a night gathering, and it was it was so she sent the invite to me and my mentor, right? So Loretta, I mentioned before. So both of us were supposed to go for the event, but I think it was like a simple, like a WhatsApp message that was a WhatsApp invite that was sent. Wasn't a lot of details about it. Just mentioned the venue, the time, and that's it, right? So in my mind, I'm like, oh, it sounds like quite a casual thing because they didn't say like dress in whatever formal attire. So there wasn't mention of attire. So I thought it was pretty casual. So I thought, okay, I'll just go. And I thought it was like a buffet thing, right? So you don't have to go on time. So by the time, like 1 hour, half an hour into the event, after the event start time, then my friend messaged me, hey, where are you?
Oh my god.
And I'm like, dinner thing, then I'm like, I just finished gym. On my way, you mean started already or what? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, it's the Chinese the lion dance performance has just finished. The formal Lo Hei is starting. If you can come before Lo Hei, it'll be good. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a formal event. He said, yeah, it's a tuxedo event.
Tuxedo event for Chinese New Year?
Yeah, I mean, so it was basically a formal event for the business associates. And I'm like, no, it wasn't mentioned, right? So obviously
what's the lesson learned?
Okay, let's finish the story, then talk about the lesson learned, okay? So obviously I was galang kabo, right? Quickly take a Grab to the place. And I was dressed in like a t-shirt and jeans. So I turned out at the place and it was Raffles Town Club.
Wow.
It was Raffles Town Club. I'm like, okay, fine. And then when I went in, oh my god.
And they let you in some more in jeans?
They did. I mean, obviously they would, right? It's a guest, you're a registered guest. So I went in and then I had like the most awkward dinner experience.
Oh my goodness.
Because I felt so out of place, number one. I felt so wrongly attired, number two. By the time I was there, I was very late, so I was in the wrong frame of mind. You can imagine.
You were not present.
I wasn't present.
And you were feeling bad.
I was feeling bad. I was frazzled. Oh. And then I didn't know that it was a formal sit-down dinner, so there was a whole series of like, the agenda, right? So the performances and all that. And it was very much geared to the business partners for the dinner. And I just thought that, and at the end of the day, I kind of left when the dinner ended. But it was one of those nights that I feel like, it was like, it wasn't the best experience.
Hey, I just want to commend you for even sharing this story, right? For you listening, you may think that we are always perfect.
We have the best small talks.
We have the best small talk. Look at Jeremy, a professional MC, a speaker, but still has his moments of like, screwing up in little ways.
Oh yeah.
How did the dinner go?
Because I didn't know anybody at the table, right? So again, maybe I should have found out a little bit more about the context, etc. But I only know my friend, so the friend who invited me. So he was the one that's going around, kind of talking to business partners. So he was hardly at the table.
Okay.
So obviously I had to make new friends at the table, and they all happened to be schoolmates. So we had a bit of small talk and all that. But I think it's just that I wasn't in the right frame of mind and all of that combination. Plus my other friend, my other friend Loretta was supposed to come, and then she had some family emergency, and so she couldn't make it. So I felt very alone in the situation, and I felt like in my mind, I just felt that I could have done something else with my time. For example, I didn't need to be here. But I also know I was there to support a friend. Yeah, so I think it was all those feelings.
I'm curious. So and you still made it anyway, even though you're wrongly attired, you're a bit frazzled, but you will still manage to sit yourself at the table and you made the small talk. What went well, despite you, not being the best friend of mine, what went well? What were the conversations that that was good?
So obviously I was there, and like I said, my friend wasn't present, and he was sitting beside me, but 80% of the time he wasn't in his seat. So I kind of just made small talk, right, with the rest of the people on the table, who happened to be his classmates, as I mentioned, and I actually exchanged a couple of contacts at the end of the night. Yeah, and I think it's where the importance of small talk comes in. Sometimes, like you may be thrown into a situation where you're not prepared to make small talk. Then what do you do, right?
Yeah, what do you do?
So my thinking at the time was, I'm already here. I'm already here. And I don't intend to leave like now, right? I'm already here. Let's make the best out of it.
Oh, okay.
Let's make the best out of it. And let's see who we can connect with. And I was thinking, I'm already here, right? I might as well make the best use of it. Yeah.
That's
So I
very
think
nice.
That was a thought and an intent I set for myself. And then I started making like initiating some conversation, like hello. And typically, you know how it is over like a round table, right? Like a banquet table. A simple gesture. Again, a simple nice gesture could be raise a glass. Hey, cheers! Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you.
Yeah.
How was the Chinese New Year? So you open up the question, topic on Chinese New Year. How was it for you? Then what do you do?
I like this, it doesn't have to start with a talk. It can be just cheers, yumsy.
Exactly.
Start with a body gesture.
Yes. Sometimes
to
the
break
easiest,
the ice, right?
Yes. Sometimes the easiest way is just to do something that we can do collectively. Yeah, like cheering. Cheers is a very casual way.
Yes,
I like that. I like to have drinks and just do cheers, happy whatever, and then smile.
Yeah,
so once you smile,
Hey, this is important,
Yeah.
This smiling thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't cao bin.
Yeah.
don't
And
be
it's
like
the body
a
language and the facial expressions that can help to make a small talk without even talking yet.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, and even if you don't talk, I think you will have made a decent impression, right? So obviously I wasn't there to because again I wasn't familiar with the context, right? I didn't know what I was kind of there for, but like
You wanted to make your time count, and
I wanted to make my time count. Yeah. So you don't have to go there with the intent of networking.
Yeah.
But through that, I made a couple of contacts, and one of them asked me out for lunch. I'm like, okay, sure, let's do lunch.
Wow.
And you never know what comes out of it, right?
Yeah. So I think this is what we brought up, right? Like making small talk, it doesn't have to be a big job. Since you're there, you have the intention to connect with somebody, and then something comes about, like a lunch appointment, like some new contacts that you have exchanged.
Yes.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about making small talk. It doesn't have to be, in fact, it doesn't need to be at all with a certain objectives.
It doesn't have to be,
right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it, and this is how I take it.
Yes. What is the best way for a small talk?
Yeah, I think the best way to approach small talk is to find a connection. Is to find a human connection, or to build a genuine human connection. Because honestly, you never know who you might meet.
Yeah.
You never know who you might meet. You never know who you might encounter. And somebody you meet may just vibe with you, may have the same interests. Maybe you're long lost to whatever in your army, your school, or whatever it is. It could be somebody really, really interesting, right? But if you're not putting ourselves out there and making, kind of learning to make small talk and kind of building the connection, sometimes this could just be good opportunities or good connections could be lost.
And I'm just imagining, like, for somebody who's really shy and like feeling a bit stressed and a bit anxious about in the small talk, I think also nothing is stopping you from saying that I am a bit shy, you can be open, right? To say that it's my first time here, I don't know anyone. Would you mind introducing me to somebody, for example?
I love that.
It doesn't have to be like, hey, my name is so and so, what do you do? It doesn't have to be all this. It can be even just owning that you are unfamiliar and you will need some help. Something like that. I'm just thinking.
I love that. And thanks for reminding me, because that's what happened during that dinner as well.
What do you do?
Because one of the first few things I said, after cheerings, and I just looked to the person on my right. I said, hey, our name, right? Actually, your name and all that. And then I looked at him, I smiled, I giggled. I'm like, I'm invited by my friend. I have no idea what I'm doing here.
This is being brave and vulnerable. Real and honest.
And immediately, that broke the ice.
Yeah.
That broke the ice because he chuckled. He said, yeah, I'm here only because of my business partner. I'm like, yeah. And then he started talking about his family, about his pet, about he has a newborn baby, that he need to go back on time after dinner to take care of the baby. His wife's at home. And his wife...
You learned so much about him after this.
And I still remember, and his wife collects the products I'm selling right now.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
See, opportunities,
you
connections.
Never know. Yes. So I actually kind of got a little bit more about consumer insights, right? About the products I'm selling. But that wasn't the intent at all.
Yeah, not bad.
Interesting, yes.
I think what I'm hearing is that actually having this small talk is really just about finding connection without any big reasons.
Yeah.
Just showing yourself as a human.
That's
Actually, small talk is just human to human thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm here for. I'm a bit anxious. Just say it. And I think for many, guess what? If you are feeling anxious, in the banquet table, somebody else is also. So maybe sometimes just a smile, a cheers, or whatever can break the ice and then get the conversation's going.
Yeah.
And you can exchange contacts, make new friends, learn something about somebody else. How
Yeah,
nice. It can be really simple, but I think it's a lot of fears in a person's mind that is resisting them from making small talk.
Exactly. So I think this is where we want to talk about, give a few tips, right? A few tips on how we can help you to overcome the anxiety, right? Or how you can show up doing small talk in a genuine way. So right?
I think maybe we can give some examples of how these tips will can be applied.
Yeah.
Maybe in a occasion, a gathering with friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Friends and people that you don't know.
Okay.
So probably gatherings like that, business, social gatherings. Or if you go to some courses in an external place where there's a lot of people, so you don't just want to hang out. I mean, of course you can hang out with your colleagues, but it would be nice if you can know more people from other companies. So these different gatherings, I think these tips can help.
Yes,
right?
That's right. Yeah. So let's say for example, right? Let's say you are attending a company event. Okay. And a company event, which means a company-wide event, which means that you have people coming from all different departments.
Yes.
So obviously you are familiar with your own department.
Correct.
Right? But most of the time, you don't know a lot of people outside your department, whether they're different functions, different levels in the office. So this is a good time to practice, right? When it comes to a gathering, work event, like how do you practice some of these
and
tips?
since you're there, might as well practice. I think we want to also share that all these gatherings are opportunities for practice. And if you never take the first step in making this small talk, you're just falling short of having more opportunities in your life. Whatever opportunities it is, okay? It could be a good lunch, a good conversation, a business idea, whatever. But it's always taking the first step.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also want to add that sometimes even if you feel that you do like some people may I honestly know, like they may say, you know what, Jeremy, I don't need opportunities.
Yeah,
I'm happy where I don't need, I'm happy where I am. I'm very settled, right? And I guess it's fine. Like if you don't want to go, okay, so what I want to say is that if you don't want to go, that's fine as well. If you don't go for the event. If you go for the event, maybe the attitude is you might as well.
Might as well. What's to lose?
What's to lose?
Yeah.
And I think the other way that you can think about it, right? I want to talk about the other perspective is, if you think about you coming and looking for opportunities, it is very much centered on what I need. But how about I flip it around and I flip the story? How could you show up at an event and be somebody for somebody else? And be an interesting person for somebody else? Or be a reference or a source for somebody else? So you never know whether somebody out there may need something from you.
Yeah, I like it.
A connection.
Yeah, maybe somebody's feeling down.
Yeah.
And if you smile at this person, then this person, okay. This person may be lighted up by your smile.
That's right.
And that's you helping somebody make the day better.
Yeah.
I like it. I like this. I like this reframe. It's not about. It's not
always about you. Yeah.
If it's nothing about you, it's just connecting, right? Connecting is one to another person activity.
And you must have heard these examples along corridor talk, right?
Yeah.
Somebody come up to me start chatting with you. Oh, you are the guy. Somebody mentioned to me about you, so you are the guy. Yeah. I wanted to look for you for. So you see, right? That happens as well, right?
That happens. Opportunities happen.
Yeah. So I think a lot of these connections happen during social events. And like what I said, even if you don't go, let's say company say it's not compulsory to go, it's fine. But I really do hope that you get some good connections out of there. Yeah. Okay, so back to tips. Okay, so I think you already mentioned the first one. Open with like a friendly greeting, a smile, a warm
body
hello,
language,
a cheers. I feel I like cheers lah. I like, hey, cheers, happy Friday. Cheers, happy hump day. Cheers, happy whatever.
Okay, what if it's a social gathering where there's no drinks, it's a lunchtime thing?
How can no drinks? No alcohol lah.
No alcohol. Maybe
no
they're
alcohol
like
can
buffet
cheers your fruit punch lah. Your fruit punch can cheers also.
But let's say that nobody's holding any drink. How do they start?
How would you start? Let me ask you, how would you start?
I think, okay, so over here, the few things that I put down, some of the tips is really, like we say again, body language, right? It's just smile. I think the first step is to smile lah. Okay, that's the most basic, right? Secondly, is just say hi. That's it. Hi, how's your food?
How's the food? Yeah,
how's the food? Something common, right? How's your day? Oh, how do you feel so far? How are you? You know, that like that. Start with a question.
A very open-ended question.
Smile first and then open-ended question.
Yeah. Open-ended question. What I also do, which is another point, I would just kind of have the conversation. And actually, in my mind, I'm trying to establish or find some common topics.
Yes.
Yeah. And typically, you can also tell. So, for example, if it's somebody, if they happen to know this person is married, right, or has kids, how are the kids? For example, I know parents generally talk a lot about the kids. So, talking to parents about kids is usually a no-brainer, right? That normally gets them going for a while.
And going.
Yeah.
Yes, going.
No, because they're excited, right? They're interested about it.
Depends. If people talk to me about my kids, I don't think I'll be excited about, okay? I'll be like, okay, can you ask me about me?
Okay. Yeah, how was the weekend? What did you do on the weekend? Another point I like to make, I like to talk about current affairs. But not the boring ones. So I'm not going to ask you about how do you feel about the Israel and the Hamas conflict. I think a bit too deep and a bit too much for a casual small talk. But what I would ask about is, hey, Taylor Swift was in Singapore. Are you a Swiftie?
And I can imagine also this can be different for people with different cultures and nationalities, right? Because I can imagine some cultures whereby they are just worried about being too intrusive, right? About asking about family. Okay,
That's
I think
true.
Singaporeans, our boundaries may be not clear. We like to ask about everything, right? Where do you live? How big is your house? How much do you? How big is
Cute Chinese New Year auntie.
how much do you pay for your condo? And what's the valuation that you pay for? That kind of a bit intrusive. But I can imagine maybe people who are not from here, they may be like, okay, probably if I ask this, will I be too intrusive? But I think going back to the tip that you mentioned about asking something that is of common topic. Let's say you're here for a social gathering, a course, a learning.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you feel so far? How do you feel about the content, about the training? What do you take away? If you're not comfortable asking about like Swiftie because it's a bit personal life, really find a common topic.
Yeah, find a common topic. Yeah, normally can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I also ask like, hey, so you have been like how many low haze have you been in this company, right?
Yeah.
Because that also gives me a hint of how long the person has been here. How experienced he is, and that could lead all to more conversation topics. To this person.
Yeah, and I think in the example of my conversation with a teenager, with young children, actually questions. Because maybe in our own mind we are fearful of asking questions, but when the person has a questions that's being posed, he or she have something to say.
Yeah.
So it's really not. I mean, what I'm saying is that don't be afraid to ask questions, because I think asking questions is a good skill, and it just shows that the person that you're interested to know from him or her their opinion.
That's right. Yeah. And I think questions could be. So I don't think we need to give a list, but I think questions could be anything about the weekend. It could be about travel plans,
your movie, any favorite movie, any favorite Netflix series.
Exactly. What's your favorite lunchtime restaurant? Weekend plans. I mean, anything, right?
Anything.
Or even like what I said, anything that's current, so to speak. Are you in touch with what's happening? So these are the topics that I think, as like you feel that these are topics that could be interesting. I think no harm asking, and then kind of breaking the ice a little bit from there.
And I think the thing is, asking these questions is just making the person feel comfortable, and then you make full use of your connection opportunities in that moment, and just. If it's boring, right? You don't talk to people, and again we mentioned about the importance of connection in living a life that is ideally longevity, right? Because connecting just makes a person feel better, and when you feel better, you do a lot of great things in other areas of your life. So just try making a small talk.
Yeah. So I've got a question. Okay, what if, Maddy? Let me ask you. So what if you are making small talk with someone and you feel that the person is not quite interested?
If me, right, if I sense and get a gut feel that okay, he or she is not interested, I'll be like, I noticed that you are maybe looking a little bit uncomfortable. Am I boring you?
Wow.
I think I will ask this. So that I was
very direct,
I mean, it's my style, ma.
It's your style.
Then I will stop. If not, I will keep on talking and talking and talking. Like, for okay, maybe another example.
Okay, that's your style, okay.
My husband, when
Sure.
me and my husband, when we talk, right? So sometimes my husband, he will listen, because I have a tendency to talk a lot more than my husband, so I can go on and on and on and on.
Right.
And then he will appear to be listening.
Okay, appear.
Yeah, he will appear to
being
be
the
listening.
keyword.
But sometimes I know that he's not listening, because he will
Right.
be distracted, and then he will do another thing, and then I'll be like, are you listening to me? And then he'll be like, oh, sorry, like that. So recently I told him that, actually, if you are not in the right frame of mind to listen, I would really appreciate if you can tell me that right now you're not prepared to listen, and then so that I will feel more respected and I will stop. Yeah. Rather than you listen and then you pretend to listen and then I'll go on and on and on. So this is a little bit on the flip side of a small talk. It's about active listening. So what I'm gonna say is, I would rather somebody tell me if I'm boring, and then so that I can either change my topic or stop talking. Rather than the person suffering and pretend to be interested but he or she's not interested. So honesty is my way to go lah. What about you? If you talk and somebody appears not interested, like maybe yawning or like appear not present, which I think is very common.
It's common.
It's hard to be an active listener.
Yeah.
It's a skill as important as talking, but what will you do?
Okay, so
Depends on the context.
maybe I'll back up a little bit, right? Number one, like how do I observe that they're not interested? Sometimes you can read their body language, right? They're on the phone or like
The energy also.
they're giving like one word answers or whatever. And so that's one thing, right?
Shifty eyes.
Observing or shifty eyes. or like eyes glancing somewhere, right? So that's the first thing I observe, body language, just to kind of gauge the level of interest. And second thing is I always how should I put it? I always assume the best of people. So what do I mean? Remember Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. So it's always about putting think about others first. Think about putting others first. You never know what a person will have gone through, right? So I think
maybe they didn't sleep at all last night because
Exactly.
of the young baby
Exactly.
waking up.
Exactly. So he or she may have a bad week. He or she had the children sleeping and he didn't much sleep. Waking up in the middle of the night, he didn't much sleep. Maybe he or she just received some really bad feedback from the manager, and it's just kind of still reeling from the shock or reeling from the feedback. So, but obviously that's not the right context and it's not the right place to talk about such topics, right? So sometimes I will just smile and I'll make a quick exit. Because I feel that
How do you make a quick exit?
that's my next tip coming up. Okay, that's my next
How
tip
to
coming up.
exit from a conversation where obviously the listener is not interested and you probably find it hard to carry on the conversation.
Or the speaker or the person you're speaking with is having a really prolonged conversation. Like there's somebody who goes on and on and on and like okay. So and obviously you want to move on, right? So there's a few little tips. So number one, make it very natural, right? So the first thing you can do is you can be very direct. Hey, sorry, just excuse me. I need to attend to something. I need to go over there, the corner. I need to look for my friend. I need to whatever.
And that's being honest.
And let's be honest, right? So excuse me, I need to something. Enjoy the rest of your lunch, whatever. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's polite.
Yes,
that's firm about
that's
what you want.
respectful to
That's
the other
respectful.
person's time, because
Exactly.
you rather set very clear boundaries
Yes.
that you really have an appointment that you need to catch, rather than you allowing yourself to sit there not paying attention to this person rambling and then pretend to listen. I think that's being very respectful.
Yeah, so I think that's okay. I think that's the one thing I would do. Or you could make it very natural. Because obviously during a gathering, you need to go toilet, right? You need to go and top up your drinks, right? You need to get more food, right?
Yeah.
So these are the little things
Or you want
do,
to connect with other people because of the limited time there.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously you won't say that, oh, you're very boring. I want to connect someone. Thank you, and goodbye, right? Okay, thanks, bye. No,
Use
you're
a
not-
bit of
Yeah.
common sense.
Yes, you're not doing that. But I mean, you kind of find the reason, like, hey, let me go top up my drink. Let me get a drink. Let me get some desserts. Let me do that. Let me do this.
Or do you mind if I go and top up my drink and I'll come back, circle around later?
Yeah, or
things
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make a graceful exit. So find a little exit strategy for you that works, feels natural to you, and doesn't feel awkward to you.
I think in order to make a graceful exit, you have to be really genuine about it too.
I mean,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, because maybe some people, I'm just trying to imagine, right? For some people, if let's say they are sitting in a conversation with somebody who's going on and on and on, and then inside they are like, I want to get out of here. Like, how to kind of put that into a genuine exit strategy.
Yeah. Okay, and then I got another suggestion. If you feel that you are having a nice conversation, but you do think that the conversation is a bit too long, and say this person is from a company, right? You could go like, hey, I love this topic. Let's catch up on it another time. Let me drop a message on Teams or whatever platform you're using, and let's connect again at another time.
I like it.
Yeah. Or if somebody is from another company or different organization, can exchange name cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and go like, hey, really nice talking to you. This is my name card. Let's stay in touch on LinkedIn or whatever platform you prefer. And we can connect again in the future.
Yeah, like I think this is setting boundaries as a reason of respecting the person and respecting yourself, and also as a form of connection.
Yes.
I mean, setting boundaries is not, I don't talk to you, bye, you're boring. It's really about, I would love to continue, but right now I've got more important things to attend to. Can we continue later? I think setting boundaries is one of the key things that I think that makes us a better person as well.
Yeah. And I think being respectful about that as well.
Yeah. Over here, it's not like tips lah, but I'm just imagining that for anyone who do not engage in any small talk or who have any social gathering anxiety, it's usually because they have certain fear. And fears comes about because we're human beings. It's normal to be fearful, right? And I think some of the common fears that people have for not making small talk is they fear of what to say. And I think you've given some good tips, right? Firstly, just smile first. Smile and make common topics. Fear of what to say. Fear of judgment. They fear that whatever they say, somebody is going to judge them. And also fear of saying the wrong things. And in my little notes here, I have some tips on how to alchemize the fear. Okay.
Oh, wow. Alchemize the fear.
Basically means like neutralize lah, okay?
Sure.
The only way to alchemize fear is to firstly face the fear rather than avoid. Avoid meaning to say, oh, you don't go for that gathering. Right. It's to face it, it's to practice. I think the first thing to know is that whoever that you are speaking, they probably have the same fear as you. They're also as fearful as you.
Yeah.
And then just use a real, genuine heart and interest and curiosity to start this whatever conversation.
Yeah.
And it can always start with yourself. If you're afraid to ask question, just start with yourself. Say, hey, I feel da-da-da. Start with yourself first. Probably it may be easier to start with yourself. If you don't find starting with yourself easier, then ask the common questions.
Yeah.
And then don't think so much. Just take an action. We always say just take an action.
Yeah.
If you're already there in the gathering, whether or not you choose to sign up for it and you're there, just try something, just say something.
Yeah. Put into practice what you've learned.
Yeah, I mean the reason why we're able to make small talk a lot more easier now because we practice, we just keep doing it lah.
Yeah. And we've been in enough social situations to observe what worked, what didn't work. And if I can also offer like a little tip for people who maybe are feeling a bit more introvert, or feeling like I don't have so much energy to give, I'm very uncomfortable, but I would still like to do that. Try going in a small group. Yeah. So you have a bit of a safe space, right? Go in a small group, maybe 2 or 3 people. So it allows you to have a safe space when you go for the event. You can always go back to this small group. At the same time, it also allows you the opportunity to connect with other people. And obviously, if things are feeling a bit whatever and you're bored, you can always go back to your small group, and that's your safe space. Yeah. So that's another way for you to kind of manage and navigate social situations and overcoming your social anxiety when it comes to small talk.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we just want to encourage all of you to practice some form of small talk. It's really to, again, back to the objectives is to connect. Connect yourself and connect another person, and also to use this opportunity to find some new beginnings, new possibilities.
You never know.
New experiment, new business ideas, new job potential, whatever. Every big thing starts with a small talk.
That's right.
I believe.
Yeah. And I really want to say and just reinforce that the point about connections, because I've got so many times in my life where I've made connections where you wouldn't imagine you will make connections, right? Whether it's a work event, a social event, along the corridor, at the pantry,
and you hear stories also.
And you hear stories. And especially, again, let me bring it back to a company context. I think in a company, the more connected different people from different departments are, the more effective this organization becomes.
Yeah.
So from managerial point of view, if you're a people leader, I think you should always encourage people to kind of go out of the department and know other people.
Yeah.
Because I always feel that when you know different people from different parts of the organization, you actually get a better idea of how the organization works. And personally for you, actually helps you get things done a lot faster sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending on who you know.
Yes.
Who you know always
I'm
helps.
gonna put this tip to my colleagues. Connect with people outside of your own function.
Because sometimes who you know helps.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need maybe there's a certain process, I'm sure. But in order to find the process, you got to Google, you got to find it on the company web, you got to check whatever, you got to do a lot of things. But if you know people, hey, I know that girl from accounting, and then you go ask her.
Yeah.
Maybe just one message and she
Yeah.
go, very simple, like go and find who and who lah. He does this and this and this. Done.
And if you do it genuinely, right, people very genuinely, willingly wants to help too.
Yeah.
You know, it is just making... I mean, and the thing is, you don't make small talk to make your life easier, right? You just make small talk just to feel good, connect, and eventually it just helps you in other ways that you didn't realize.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think like even for our podcast when we record, we have colleagues and friends coming to us, making small talk with us. Hey Jeremy, hey Madeline, thank you so much for recording this.
Yes.
And these are small talk that we value a lot. We don't take it lightly because it's them having courage to come and tell us that they thank us for this podcast.
And we are so grateful.
And we're so grateful. It makes us feel good.
Yeah.
It makes the person sharing this small talk feels good. And then we just hits our mission. No?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Quote.
I think we always get our own timing out. We kind of know one, right? That was so funny.
I mean, we're laughing because we are always... because the way we have structured our podcast is that we have our own notes. Jump story. We have our own notes prepared, and Jeremy and I will meet like 30 minutes before to discuss a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we also don't really have a structure. But kind of whenever we record to a point where we just know when
we
it's
sense
time.
it. Yeah, we sense that is kind of where the topic should end already. Because if you go any further, you're belaboring the point.
Yes.
If
It'll be too much prolonged talk.
You're overstaying your welcome.
Yeah.
Anything shorter, you feel like 你讲不够, right? So it's always that magic moment. Okay, but it's good. It's called chemistry. Okay. Okay. So shall I start or you go first?
You go first.
I'll go first. Yeah. Okay. So this is a quote from Stephen Covey. 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Obviously, a best-selling author. The quote is: the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand. We listen to reply. I'll read it again, yeah? The biggest communication problem we have is that we do not listen to understand. We listen to reply. And obviously how it fits into the show is a lot of times we're doing social gatherings or networking sessions or whatever it is, context that you need to go there and make small talk. If you just choose to go there and listen and to understand and to connect, it actually makes the entire situation a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And I think you actually feel that you understand, you actually appreciate people a little bit more.
Yeah.
But sometimes we go there to listen, to reply. We feel that we're going there just to show up. Just to show up lah.
To judge.
Just to show up or to judge.
To
show up
comment.
that I'm there.
Yeah.
Show up because my boss had asked me to. Show up because your intention of showing up is just of attending just to show up.
To prove
something.
to get validated.
Yeah. So to me that is a meaning of we listen just to reply. Yeah, but you're not really caring about the people there.
Yeah.
But if you go there with the intent of wanting to connect and listening to understand, I think it will make a world of a difference.
I really like it. I think that what makes a small talk works is also a very important part about listening. And probably we should do another episode about listening, right? Because talking is one thing, listening is completely another. Because if you talk, but you don't listen, then you might as well don't talk. But then I think this quote captures the essence of it. It's really listening with the intent to understand.
Yes.
And not to judge and not to reply and not to prove. It's just to understand.
Yeah, not to go through the flow.
Yeah. And I love it. Okay, I love it. Okay, my one. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, I like him.
Author.
He's a writer.
A writer.
He's a writer, and I think he's a he's a writer, American writer, I believe.
So this quote.
Wait, I'm not sure. Let me check. But yeah, writer.
Yeah, writer. So the quote goes: "You worry less about what people think about you when you realize how seldom they do." You worry less about what people think about you when you realize how seldom they do.
Haha, love it.
I think a lot of times we are thinking, what we are gonna say is not like very wise. I don't know what to say, because we are so judging ourselves.
Yeah.
But the truth is, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I wanted
Nobody
to say
cares
that.
about
Nobody
what you
cares.
say. The next moment when you just shut your mouth, they will forget what you say.
Nobody cares.
So if you're able to drop or understand that nobody cares about what you do or say, then I think that enters a lot of freedom.
That's right.
Just say.
Yes.
Yeah, just talk.
Yeah. You be liberated.
Yeah.
People actually have no time to think about it that much.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own shit to settle.
You're not that important. You're only important to yourself, but you're really, that's about it.
That's right. Yeah.
There's nothing to prove.
Yes. You're not a Ming-Sing walking along the street. Don't worry. There's no paparazzi following you.
You're not Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so chill. It's okay.
Chill,
like
chill.
like
It's not about you.
Yeah, it's not always about you.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. You take the center of a
Remove yourself.
Remove yourself from the center. Exactly. Yeah.
And seek to understand. Connect with another person. I think that's the main objective of how a small talk can create a big impact.
Yeah, I hope you'll be feeling a lot more comfortable the next time you move into or you go into a social gathering or a context that you need to kind of mingle.
Yeah, and don't even wait for the next gathering. If you go to office so much more now. You have lunch opportunities. Eat with somebody that you don't know. Eat with somebody outside of your comfort circle.
That's right.
And if you're in a company that promotes a culture, a good culture like this, then I think nothing is stopping you from making small talk over a one-to-one lunch. Probably it's a bit of a safer space too.
Exactly. For me, I love the pantry. I always go to the pantry and make small talk. I always smile at somebody else who's taking coffee.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm opposite of you.
Oh, I
will have my eyes look down and go straight to my work.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any eye contact.
I love pantry talk. I love pantry. It's like the best time to distress a little bit and
Find
talk to
your own
people.
ways to make a small talk.
Find your
Start
own ways.
practicing.
Exactly.
Okay, I
Alright.
hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did preparing for you.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
My name is Maddy.
My name is Jeremy.
We are the
Imperfect Rainbow.
Bye.
See you. Bye. Okay.
我在做我的chewing gum。
哎呀。
哎呀呀呀呀呀！